I hate crime. I was in the office, sitting at my desk, turning over the pages of a picture magazine. I looked up as the silhouette appeared against the frosted glass of my office door. It was a very nice silhouette. It stood framed there for a few seconds as the owner read, "Larry Kent, Private Investigations, please walk in."
Mr. Kent.
I nodded because I was momentarily tongue-tied. She was tall, stately, had a creamy complexion and red hair. From the ground up, she was expert tailoring, good taste, and expensive. She was a perfectly trimmed Christmas tree, all lit up. I told her to come in.
Are you busy?
No. Have a chair.
Thank you.
Is there something I can do for you?
Yes. I'd like to hire your services, if you're available.
Uh-huh. Name, please?
Sylvia Hart.
Miss Sylvia Hart?
Mrs.
Oh.
I understand that you always keep your business strictly confidential.
When my client holds nothing back, yes.
I don't intend holding anything back. In fact, this is a case in which you must know everything. At the same time, it must be between only you and me. Unless...
Unless?
Perhaps I'd better start from the beginning.
That's a very good idea.
My husband, Gerald, is a philatelist.
Is that his business?
No, he collects stamps only as a hobby. He's in the real estate business.
Go on.
A few years ago, Gerald's collection was valued at £20,000. Two of his best friends were philatelists too, with collections worth close to the same amount.
Uh-huh. And do they come into this?
Yes.
Can you give me their names? I'm writing all this down.
John Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And Samuel Flinders. Samuel was killed a month ago.
Killed?
He went down a flight of stairs.
You mean fell down?
I think he may have been pushed.
Oh. Go on.
Well, yesterday my husband narrowly escaped death.
How?
A speeding car missed him by inches.
It could have been accidental.
No. The car swerved almost 10 feet onto the wrong side of the road. Gerald was knocked down, but fortunately only shaken up.
Does he think it was deliberate?
No, and that's what infuriates me. He'd trust John Madison with his life.
And you wouldn't, huh?
No.
You must have a good reason.
Well, a few years ago, Madison, Flinders, and my husband formed a sort of club, with membership limited to the three of them.
What kind of a club?
Well, at one time or other, each of them has tried to buy the other's stamp collections, but no one would sell. So they pooled all the collections.
Making one?
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
The idea being for each man to keep the collection for a month and then pass it on to the next.
Yeah, this gets really interesting. What happened to Flinders' collection?
Under the terms of his will, it was left to Madison and my husband.
And if your husband died?
It would go to Madison.
Then if Madison died?
To his legal heirs.
So you think somebody deliberately tried to run down your husband, huh?
It did seem that way.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Then you must suspect...
I make no accusation. I merely ask you to investigate. Will you accept?
I accepted. Took her retainer and some more information. Then I looked on with an appreciative eye as she left.
Goodbye, Mr. Kent.
So long, Mrs. Hart. John Madison had an office in town. He was an indent agent, and he had a good eye for picking secretaries.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Right now, I'd like to see Mr. Madison.
Is he expecting you?
Nope. But I think he'll see me. You can tell him it's important.
Whom will I say is calling?
Larry Kent.
Oh, a private detective.
That's right.
A man who hates crime. I'll tell Mr. Madison.
She got up from her desk, walked to the other door, turned around to see if I was looking. I was. Smiled. Knocked and went in. In a minute or so, she was back.
Mr. Madison will see you.
Thanks. Hey, what's that perfume you're using?
Caress. Like it?
Yeah.
Mr. Madison is waiting.
Right. John Madison was short and fat, nearly bald, had a round red face and rimless glasses. He leaned over his desk to shake hands with me.
Glad to know you, Mr. Kent. Sit down, won't you?
Thanks.
Now, why would a private investigator come to see me?
Did you pool your stamp collection with collections owned by Gerald Hart and Samuel Flinders?
Yes.
And Flinders is dead?
Yes. He was killed accidentally.
I know someone who thinks he wasn't.
What?
I received a tip that he was murdered.
Oh, that's perfectly idiotic. Who would have wanted to murder Samuel?
That's what I'm trying to find out. I thought you could give me some information.
All I can tell you is that Samuel's death was a great shock to me and to Gerald Hart, too. We were firm friends.
I looked at him all the time he spoke. His eyes were straight. His voice shook a little, but it was from emotion. Besides, he looked too lazy and happy to be a murderer. So I said thanks and left.
Leaving?
Uh-huh.
So soon?
Uh-huh. If I came back, would you smile for me?
It'll be a pleasure.
What's your name?
Madonna.
LaDonna, sometimes I go for a few drinks before dinner. About 5.
I get through at 1:15.
I could wait.
Give me a ring.
I said I would, smiled, got a big warm smile in return, and left. At 4, I was in the office, and there was nothing to do, so I figured I'd give LaDonna that ring, but... Larry Kent, Private Investigation.
This is Ladona, John Madison's secretary.
Oh, funny thing, I was just going to call you.
I'm calling from a public phone.
Are you all through at the office?
No, I couldn't phone from the office. The police are still there.
Police?
I just want you to know that I didn't mention your visit.
What goes on?
About 15 minutes after you left, Mr. Madison fell out the window.
Look, I've got to see you.
All right.
Somewhere private.
My flat? It's the Carrington, 27 Ocean Drive, Bondi, flat 4.
Okay, what time can you get there?
6 o'clock, if the police let me go right home.
Right, see you then. I was out there at 5 after 6.
Come in, Mr. Kent.
Why didn't you tell the cops about my visit?
I didn't want to make any trouble for you. That's why I phoned, to let you know.
Yeah. When did Madison fall?
A little after 3.
Where were you?
I was outside.
Outside?
Well, you see, at 3 every afternoon, I go to the cafe downstairs for 2 pots of tea.
Uh-huh.
One for me and one for Mr. Madison. As I left the cafe, I heard a scream. Then there was a crowd of people. I went over and saw Mr. Madison.
Well, you've proved you were in the street, haven't you?
You don't think that
I'm only asking, did you prove it to the cops?
Yes, one of the girls in the cafe told them.
Good. Can I use your phone?
Sure.
Oh, by the way, thanks for keeping me out of it.
Well, like I said, I didn't want to get you into bother.
Yeah. Hello,
Who is the speaking?
Larry Kent.
Oh, Mr. Kent, I've been trying to reach you.
Then you heard about Madison, huh?
Gerald told me. I must see you.
Why?
Gerald came in drunk. He's in the other room. He's threatened to kill me.
I'll be right over. The hard place was built off the road. There was a driveway leading to it. The gate was only half open, so I pulled to a stop, jumped out, and ran up the driveway and into the house.
Mr.
Where
Kent.
is he?
It's all right. He's in the study. He passed out.
Oh, you had me scared.
How do you think I felt?
Well, tell me everything that happened.
Well, he came in just after 6, drunk. He told me that John Madison was dead.
Exactly what did he say?
He said, John's dead. He fell 10 stories. I became frightened. It was the look on his face.
Easy now, easy.
He said that the stamp collection was all his. Then he seemed to go mad. He had a gun in his hand. He said he'd kill anyone who tried to take the stamps from him.
Over the phone, you said that he threatened you.
Yes, I told him to go to bed. So you can call the police, he said. I ran into the other room, closed the door. He tried to get in, but finally I heard him tramping off to his study.
And then?
I came out here and rang your office. Then your home number. When I couldn't get you, I decided to run from the house. Then I heard the door of his study slam. I went there carefully. I could hear him snoring. The key was in the door. I locked him in. There's the key.
Uh-huh. What are you going to do now?
I think I should tell the police. Tell them everything.
Yeah.
That came from the study. The windows are open in there.
I'll go around the back. The study was on the ground floor. The windows were wide open, but were 8 feet up. Too high to look into, but they could easily be reached by climbing along the roof. Beneath the windows, a bush was flattened. Using my flashlight, I made a quick search, but saw no one. There were no footprints either. The lawn was too firm. I went back into the house. Sylvia Hart was standing near the door.
Did you see anyone?
No.
Here, the key.
The first thing I saw was the gas fire burning. In its light was the body of a man. There was a heavy smell of cordite in the room. I bent over the body. There was a neat black hole on the right side of his forehead. There was a .22 revolver under his right hand. Mingling with the cordite was the smell of whiskey. I went back to Sylvia.
Dead?
Yeah. Come on, we'll phone the cops.
Yes.
I phoned headquarters, told them there'd been a suicide, then we sat down and waited. She took a cigarette from a box. I reached for my lighter.
I have a lighter here.
She was so shaken up that she couldn't hold the lighter straight. Finally, it slipped in her hand.
Oh. No. Burned my finger.
Badly?
No, just a slight burn.
Here, you'd better let me do that for you.
Thank you.
Can I get you a drink?
No. Oh, I never thought that the chair...
She fell into a chair and didn't do any more talking until the cops arrived. Inspector Daniels was in charge. We went up and looked at the body.
No blood at all.
That's because a .22 was used. The bullet didn't even go through.
Yes. Let's go down and get the whole story.
Downstairs, Sylvia told him just what she told me, then I gave my part of it. After that, we went back to the beginning.
I don't like this sort of case. Too many ifs and buts.
You mean it may not have been suicide?
Oh, it was suicide. It's obvious.
Then where do the ifs and buts come in?
The two other deaths, the accidents. We'll have to investigate them.
And it'll probably get you nowhere.
Exactly. If he had to kill the other two so he could get those stamps, why didn't he make them look like murders?
Because he didn't want them to look like murders.
Sure. Goes through a lot of trouble to be clever, then he feels remorseful, puts a bullet in his brain, and gives the police force a lot of unnecessary work.
Oh, for the life of a public servant. They sent the body down to the morgue, saw how upset Sylvia was, and let her go to bed. I went home, did some thinking. The next day, I did some more thinking. Something didn't look right somewhere. Something I couldn't put my finger on. But finally, I got tired of groping for it, so I drove out to Bondi.
Hello.
What a beautiful piece of wrapping paper.
Oh, you mean the gown. Do you like it?
Did I like it? It was one of those frilly negligees, all fluff and lace. It was soft and pink and completely feminine. And so was LaDonna. She was a big, sweet, warm-hearted doll who wanted to say Papa.
Come in.
Try to keep me out.
Sit down by the gas fire.
Yeah? But don't go away.
I just want to get something on the radio.
Make it something appropriate, will you?
How's that?
It'll do. Now sit down, Peaches and Cream.
That's a nice name. By the way, I read about that suicide.
Did you?
Mr. Hart was a good friend of Mr. Madison's.
Was he?
Yes.
Do we have to talk about that?
Well, I just want you to know that I'm interested in your business.
Can't you make your interest just a little more personal? Like, this? This is what I want for Christmas.
In the office, I saw this in your smile. It was a real warm smile.
Speaking of getting warm.
Oh, the gas heater. You can turn it down if you like.
Yeah. Oh,
What is it?
I burnt my finger on that iron support.
Oh, let me see it, Larry.
It's nothing, just a... Hey. Hey,
What's wrong?
the gas heater. That's how... I've got to use your phone.
All right.
Then I've got some work to do. Hello, Mrs. Hard.
Come in.
Thanks. I hope the cops haven't been giving you too much trouble.
No, they've been very kind. Can I get you a drink?
I said yeah, and she mixed a couple on the sideboard. It happened when she was walking towards me, a glass in each hand. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. The glasses dropped. Then her vocal cords started operating.
That came from the study.
We went there together. When I opened the door, there was the strong smell of cordite, and the gas fire was lit.
I didn't turn that on.
I did.
You...
Look here on the floor, a .22 cartridge case. So hot I have to lift it inside my handkerchief.
How did that get there?
I pried off the business end of a .22 slug. Then I climbed through the window and put the cartridge case in that gas fire grating.
But why?
To show you that I know how you did it.
What?
No need to act, Mrs. Hart. I'm no cop. Sit down.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll disregard that and start from the beginning. First of all, you killed Flinders and Madison before giving your husband the business.
Then why did I hire you?
Because you were being so very smart. I was a good witness.
Go on, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I'm interested.
When Madison took that 10-story swan dive, your husband was honestly shocked. He came home, and you were probably sympathetic, right so far?
You're doing very well.
Uh-huh. Then you filled him full of whiskey and put him to sleep in the study.
Why?
Because you were getting ready for the third and last killing. The first two you made look like accidental death. This one was to be suicide. This one would wrap the whole three up in one bundle, and you'd have everything. The stamp collection plus your husband's money and property.
Continue.
When your husband went to sleep, you phoned me, but I wasn't in the office or at home. Then when I phoned you, you had your story all ready.
And then?
Then you held a .22 against your husband's skull, fired, wiped your prints, and placed the gun under his hand.
What did I do after that?
When you saw my car pull up, you put the blank .22 in the heater grate, locked the door, and went down.
Why didn't you find the cartridge on the floor?
When I went around the back, you ran to the study and picked up the cartridge. It burnt your hand, so later, you pulled that trick with a cigarette lighter, in case I or the police noticed the burn.
Very nicely worked out. But why tell me? Why not go to the police?
I will go to the cops. Unless you give me 500.
And then have you blackmail me again tomorrow or the day after?
I wouldn't do that.
I know you won't. Don't move.
Well, what are you going to make this murder look like?
They'll never find your body.
I don't think there'll be a murder.
Inspector Daniels, I think you've met Mrs. Hard.
Drop the gun.
She didn't. She had to. And later, she had to sign a confession left-handed. Me? I made a trip to Bondi.
I didn't think you were coming back.
I had to. We started something, remember?
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see. I was here. And you were...
Oh, I turned off the heater. I'll just... Oh, Harry.
We didn't light the heater. Why waste gas? Good night.